So while we're on the topic of the Mossad, it reminded me of something, and I thought I'd share it because it's quite interesting. It's to do with 9/11, and it's very well hidden. This fact, you'll never hear about it on the mainstream news or on TV or anything. um, Even within like the truth movement, so-called truth movement, it's quite it's relatively unknown. So as a prelude to that, I'll have to explain something real quick. If you've ever heard of the dancing Israelis, the five dancing Israelis on 9/11, this is a little bit more known in the truth movement. And, it's starting to become, sort of well known, at least by people that, are paying attention. Uh, if you don't know what the five dancing Israelis are, who they are, just pause this video, go to Bing search engine, and type in five dancing Israelis 9/11. And just have a quick look at whatever. Just so you know what I'm talking about. There's, FBI documents about it. These five Israelis were arrested, whatever. I think in total, there were 70 Israelis that were arrested in connection to 9/11. And then they were deported back to Israel after a few months. These specific ones, these five, they felt, if you know about it, they were caught basically celebrating the attacks and high-fiving and taking photographs, and the FBI document gets into all of it. It was recently declassified because it had been redacted for like a long time. One of them took a picture of the burning towers with a lighter. He had like a lighter up to the tower. Anyway, and my point is that there were two other Israelis. This is the part that isn't as well known, but it should be known about. There were two other Israelis that were caught driving in a truck, in a panel truck. The panel truck was owned by a company called Urban Moving Systems Incorporated, which was a Mossad front company. If you look into the five dancing Israelis, you'll hear about Urban Moving Systems. And they put out an APB for there was like a van that was driving around with the five Israelis in it. They put out an APB for that van.
The FBI has issued a nationwide all-points bulletin for a van that may have been involved in this attack. It's described as a white Chevrolet van with New Jersey tags. It has the words Urban Moving System or Systems written on the back of it.
And they also pulled over a truck, an Urban Moving Systems truck, with two Israelis inside. But the crazy part is that the panel truck had, I'll just show you a photo of it. That's the truck that was pulled over. Now, as you can see, it has a painting, a mural on the side of it of the New York skyline. And, the Twin Towers and all the rest of the buildings are grayed out, with a plane flying straight into one of the towers. Now, the police pulled over this van. The two occupants ran out, and then the truck exploded, basically. So there was a explosive in it. Now, people would say, "Oh, well, that's Photoshop, or that can't be real. There's no way that that's real, right? That Urban Moving Systems truck with the mural painted on it, with Israelis driving around, these Mossad agents, that cannot be real. There's proof that it happened. I have the audio of the New York Police Department transmission, and I'll insert that and you can listen to it.
Spencer, I got a message on that plane. It's a big truck with a mural painted of an airplane diving into New York City and exploding. I don't know what's in the truck. The truck is in between 6th and 7th on King Street. All right, 10-4. I'll send the issue in the bomb squad there for West Gate. The phone? You got the rest message? That's fine. With a mural painted, airplane diving into New York, blowing up. 2 men got out of the truck, ran away from it. We got those 2 under. That's good. Are you holding those 2 guys, Kay? We got them under. Let's get the music going here. Listen to that. Fucking beat the shit out of them. All right, get in. All right, you listen, you need any further on those 2 guys over there? You all right over there, Kay? We have both suspects under, Kay. We have the suspect who drove in the van exploded. We have both of them under, Kay. Let's get some help over here. Now, I'm sending you ESU there. I just want to make sure you and your guys are all right over there, Kay. That's all. What's the location, right, Kay? Put them up. You know, we have both Neotrans driven that exploded. Is that correct? What location?
So yeah, that was the audio transmission of when they pulled that truck over. And there's another source that confirms this. Transportation Secretary Norman Mineta, Saving City Lifelines, a book that was published by Norman Mineta. And in that book, I don't remember the exact quote, but if you look on Bing search engine, not Google, don't use Google for any of this stuff, because Google, their algorithm is fixed, and any of this stuff, if you try to search this stuff, you'll get nothing but just disinformation. So use Bing search engine. It's called Saving City Lifelines by Norman Mineta. And in that book, something along the lines that he says of a panel truck was pulled over with a mural painted of a plane flying into the Twin Towers. He doesn't make any mention of the fact that the occupants were Israelis. And but yeah, there's another source of confirmation that really did happen. In case people want to say that the audio is faked or something, which it's not. It's legitimate. And those original 5 dancing Israelis, they were they failed polygraph tests and everything. And after a few months, they were kind of quietly deported back to Israel. No charges whatsoever. And they actually, later on in 2001, maybe in like December, these alleged Mossad agents actually went on Israeli television, and one of them admitted or said that they were there in America, in New York, to document the event.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad. The fact of the matter is, we are coming from a country that experiences terror daily. Our purpose was to document the event.
That's his words. He was there to document. They were there to document the event. And it's just crazy, really. It's crazy that this stuff is so hidden and no one really knows about it. And it's quite clear that that intelligence agency had some sort of role. Definitely. Another piece of evidence for this is the World Trade Center was, since the time of construction, it was always owned by the New York Port Authority, right? Until a Jewish businessman, his name is I think it's Louis Eisenberg, he became the chairman of the Port Authority, and he, managed to, with him as the chairman, they managed to get the World Trade Center into private hands, right? And the private hand was a guy called Larry Silverstein. Larry Silverstein bought the World Trade Center, and this building was terrible. It was full of asbestos, and the asbestos needed to be removed, due to health concerns, and it was going to cost more than the buildings were actually worth. So he bought these worthless buildings, right? Larry Silverstein did. But why would he do that, right? Well, because it was insurance fraud, basically. This guy, admittedly, used to talk on the phone every Sunday night with Netanyahu. This dude was definitely, I would say, connected to Mossad. He was definitely connected to Netanyahu, that's for sure. He buys the buildings. He put down a down payment, so he didn't pay the full price. He put down, I think it was 1% of the total. And then he took out maximum terrorism insurance just a few weeks, 6 weeks before 9/11. He takes out mega terrorism insurance. 9/11 happens. And another thing, from the time he bought those buildings until the day of 9/11, every day since buying the buildings, he would always have breakfast on the top floor of the North Tower at a restaurant called Windows of the World or something. And on 9/11, luckily for him, his wife, according to his own words, booked him an appointment with the dermatologist. So, he was at the dermatologist when the plane hit. How convenient, right? So, every day, every morning, he'd be at, and then this morning he just happens to go to the dermatologist. Okay.
Where were you on September 11th?
I was home. And the only reason I wasn't where I was every morning, subsequent to the 26th day of July, my mornings were spent usually at a breakfast meeting at Windows, an 8 o'clock breakfast meeting, Windows, the top of it. Right? And so that particular morning, because I have light-colored hair and fair skin, and I'm an annuity to the dermatologist, my wife, God bless her, had made an appointment for me at the doctor. And I remember dressing to go to the doctor. I'm finally saying to my wife, I said, sweetheart, I've got so much to do downtown. I got to cancel this. I've got to go downtown. And she said, you're not going to cancel this appointment. You're going to the dermatologist. And, having been married now to the same woman for 46 years, you get this sense of determination on occasion, their voices. And I said, okay, yes, dear, I'll go. And then just minutes later, received a telephone call to turn on a television set and witnessed this horrendous circumstance. The first plane hitting, and then the second plane hitting. Of course, with the second hit, it became obvious that this was terrorism.
And, he, obviously the attacks happened, and then he took out, he actually took it to court. He was going to be paid out $3.5 billion US. He claimed in court, he tried to argue that it was two separate attacks because two buildings were hit. So he wanted $7 billion. He wanted the 3.5 billion times two. I don't think he actually got it. But they paid him out. And, he made billions on that. This guy who, talks with Netanyahu on the phone every Sunday. And you know, happens to go to the dermatologist on the morning of 9/11. So, yeah. Anyway, that's about it that I can think of at the moment. But I just thought I'd share that with you guys.